Nick Robinson, look out!
Uh-oh.
I was gonna do a B-movie thing to like intro the Deadly Tower of Monsters because it's appropriate, which will make sense here in a second.
Yeah, you stuck with it for about 2 seconds, huh?
Yeah, it felt like weirdly cornball, and I gave myself like the heebie-jeebies, like real fast.
I understand it there.
With your permission, though, I do still want to talk about Deadly Tower of Monsters.
Okay, we can do that.
It's the latest jam from Ace Team.
Holy crap, you're falling.
Yeah, I'm falling real fast. You might know them from Zeno Clash.
Oh, yeah.
The Zeno Clash series, or Rock of Ages, or Abyss Odyssey, I think is what it was called.
The Zeno Clash 2 as well.
Yeah, Zeno Clash 2. They did both Zeno Clashes. Deadly Tower of Monsters, fittingly enough, is a very weird game.
Oh, weird. So a departure for them.
Yeah. First of all, it all has this like 50s B-movie aesthetic. Which is, it's the best thing about the game, and it like pervades. It's one of those great sort of like styles that doesn't just sort of define how the game looks. It's like every part of the game, like the mechanics and dialogue, the writing, everything lends itself to this B-movie style. As you can see, it looks kind of like a isometric beat 'em up, kind of Diablo-y, but it sets itself apart in that, first of all, it's more of a straightforward narrative experience. Like there's no like classes or whatever. There are a few playable characters you can switch between, but you're not like leveling up these individual classes. You just play as these different characters from this 50s B movie. The other thing you just saw there is there's vertical gameplay as well, because it's a deadly ass tower of monsters.
Okay, so you walked up to the edge and started shooting down at like the next layer. Is that what was happening back there?
Yes. At any time you can face towards the edge, whenever you get that little prompt, enemies will come up at you. Your vertical gun is really powerful, so you can take enemies out or weaken them a lot while they're flying up at you. Once they get up to you, you have to use your regular weapons, which are weaker. And if you let them all like pile up on you, it can be a real bad situation. Also, there's like hidden bonuses. You saw that little target that I shot out. There's lots of stuff like that you can only access by firing downward. There's some collectible weapons and stuff like that, some ways to upgrade. There are character upgrades and all that stuff, but it's sort of limited RPG aspects. The cooler thing about it is just like it's kind of a isometric beat 'em up platformer, which is a really, really weird combination
for sure
of things.
There's like camera movement stuff happening here that I don't think I've ever seen in a game of this type before.
Yeah, like the camera does move around. It's not stuck at this like 3D over-the-shoulder angle, way over the shoulder. Enemies will attack you from like different heights. Some of them you can only attack with your ranged weapons. There's like a weird combo meter in the game, so if you can build up a lot of damage without getting hit, you deal bonus damage, which is useful in these big rooms like this.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Are you only fighting aminals all the way through? Because I'm seeing a lot of aminals that you're hurting here.
I mean, you're probably seeing like the Planet of the Apes. They're aping Planet of the Apes. But no, there's aliens and there's
aminals.
Sorry, what?
And aminals.
There's aminals. Yeah,
there's aliens and aminals game.
What's really great? Actually, you saw me. I found these little golden rings, and I wanted to dive right through them.
Hoopster, it says.
And Hoopster. I programmed in my high school nickname into the game, so it just knew to call me that. No, what's really great is all the enemies are different, and there's a director's commentary going throughout the whole thing. It's kind of like I would say maybe like the narrator in Bastion. And that's kind of a double-edged sword. I'll get back to that in a second. But like it explains like those squid monsters you saw are the producers' like kids who wanted to be in the movie, so they put them in these big rubber suits.
We're not talking about a Valve-style actual director's commentary. This is like in the fiction.
It's in the fiction of the game, explaining everything you do. So like I said, it's very, very much like the Bastion narrator, in that it's just constantly going. Every time you see a new thing, the director chimes in and like lets you know about like how it got made or whatever. And that is neat. Like there he is right there chiming in, talking about these logs, which is like the first time I've encountered this gameplay element. It's neat and it's a cool idea, and it sort of lends itself to this building the world. By the way, it's always cool. Like you can look down at any time and see all the stuff you were just in. It's a really, really, really cool effect. You can also just like dive down to it. But the problem with that director commentary is that it's just like constantly making jokes and it's working a little hard. And like, not all of them land, and just it's just constant. It's just nonstop, and it is a little bit grating. If you can hear, I've got the volume pan down so you can hear us, but I just muted it. Like, I turned the volume on the voices all the way down because it was just so nonstop was this director's shenanigans. But you can't turn off the subtitles; those are always going to be.
Does it ever repeat? Like, if you die and play through a section again, do you have to hear him?
Oh, yeah.
See, because you compared it to Bastion. One thing Bastion did really well was never making you hear the same line twice, no matter what.
Yeah, you do have to do that. There's the really cool thing about it though is this idea of vertical RPG beat 'em up stuff. So right here, I'm in this area right now that was gear gated before. There was like this big boulder that I needed this explosive thing that was a little bit of a ways up the tower to get to. And there's every time you reach a checkpoint, you can teleport between them at will. You also have an ability that allows you to instantly teleport up to the highest point on the tower that you've been. So there's no punishment for exploration. There's no punishment for backtracking. At any point, you can just dive off the tower and fly all the way down it, and with a single button press, you'll be right back to where you were.
Is there fall damage to worry about?
There is, but you have a jetpack you can use to mitigate it. So if you time it right, nothing will kill you. It's a really, really, really cool idea. Here you just saw me take a bunch of hits there. It's because I discovered you could jump on enemies' heads and kill them that way. And there's actually a challenge dedicated to that. The way that you level up is by getting achievements in the game. Every time you get an achievement, like that one for jumping on 10 enemies' heads, you get a skill point, which you can then invest in this tree to sort of change your character. But that's a pretty light element to it. But yeah, it's a really neat game. I've put about an hour into it, and once I sort of knew what it was, I really liked it. Because at first, like, I was like, I was sort of expecting something in the pantheon of Diablo, and it is absolutely not that. It is more of a niche experience. By the way, I love there's this recurring joke that the dummy they use for the main protagonist is just a rubbery piece of shit. And he watches like knees fly the wrong way. It's pretty great. I've heard it's actually a pretty small game. It's actually pretty short experience, which is is neither here nor there, but it just sort of does set it apart from this gigantic action RPG that I thought it was going to be. Although I guess it doesn't make sense why I would expect that, because that's not really Ace Team style anyway. But yeah, this is Deadly Tower Monsters. It's on Steam and PlayStation 4 now. This is a boss fight where you have to fight the boss and also keep these ants from scaling the tower by shooting down it while also dodging the fire.
There's a lot going on here.
A lot going on. This is like 50 minutes into the game too. You get thrown into it quick. But yeah, it's a neat game, and if you like Ace Team's like weird aesthetic, this is going to be up your alley, I think.